Hello, Tinley families and scholars. Welcome back to the school year and welcome back to Stories with Mrs. Cowan. For those of you that are returning, I'm so glad to be back with you. For those of you that are new, I am Mrs. Cowan, the assistant principal at Tinley Summit. Specifically this year, I will be the assistant principal for kindergarten through third grade, and I am super, super excited. Last year, I started doing bedtime stories with Mrs. Cowan. This year, I'm going to do stories with Mrs. Cowan. I will release every Wednesday a story that I will read your scholars, so please tune in every Wednesday to hear a story. The best thing that you can do for your kids is to read to them, let them listen to stories, immerse them in text. One of the things I always like to do when I read is to get myself a reading buddy. When I'm at home, sometimes that's my dog. I just read to my dog to practice that fluency of reading out loud. Today I have the Cat in the Hat with me. Our story today is a story I always like to start with when we start the school year off, and it is Howard B. Wigglebottom Learns to Listen, and it is written by Howard Binko. Meet Howard B. Wigglebottom. Howard is always in trouble at school because, well, Howard just doesn't listen. During story time, instead of quietly listening, Howard bounces around the room. Howard B. Wigglebottom, please sit down, be quiet, and listen. But Howard doesn't listen. Howard B. Wigglebottom, you are bouncing too close to the fan. But Howard doesn't listen. Hey Howard, watch your step. At lunchtime, his friends try to warn him. But Howard doesn't listen. After lunch, Howard's friend tries to tell him something important. Blah, 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 blah. But Howard doesn't listen. On the playground, Howard's teammates try to help him. Keep your eye on the ball, Howard. Boink. But Howard doesn't listen. In the art room, the teacher reminds the class, kids, try to keep your paint on the paper. But Howard doesn't listen, so the teacher asks him to take time out. He feels sad. Howard does not like being alone and in trouble. He thinks and thinks about his day. Howard makes up his mind. From that moment on, he will try very hard to be the best listener he can be. The next day, Howard does listen during story time. He waits his turn to talk and then asks a question about the story. Howard gets a #1 listener star because Howard is really listening. While walking home, Howard uses both his eyes and ears to help stay safe. Howard is really listening. When Howard gets home, he listens to his mother. Please hang up your backpack and clean up your room now. Okay, Mom. Howard is really listening. So Howard gets extra time to play and have fun. Awesome ears, Howard. Howard B. Wigglebottom is really listening. Time for a bedtime story. Please brush your teeth first, Howard. Almost all of the time. Today's lesson, how to be a better listener. Sit quietly, use both your eyes and ears to help you listen. Please don't interrupt. Wait your turn to talk. Try your very best to understand the person speaking. Ask questions if you don't understand. Remember rules and directions. Pay attention. That means to be alert and really know what is happening around you. This is such an important lesson as we start school. One, because listening helps us stay safe, but it also helps us be respectful. And this is one of the biggest things that we learn, especially in kindergarten and first grade, is how to listen and follow directions. I hope you enjoyed our story today. Join us next week for Stories with Mrs. Cowan. Bye.